It was a night so endlessly heavy that it felt as though the sky itself had grown tired of holding its silence, yet still refused to let it fall completely, as if somewhere above, beyond the dark, unmoving clouds, there were countless unheard prayers suspended in time, waiting for a moment that never seemed to arrive. And the rain kept falling, not loudly, not violently, but in a slow, quiet rhythm that felt almost deliberate, as if each drop carried with it a memory of something lost, something forgotten, something the world had quietly chosen to move on from. And the road stretched endlessly into the distance, empty, untouched, lifeless, as though it had been abandoned, not just by people, but by meaning itself. And in the middle of that silence where nothing moved and nothing spoke, a small boy sat alone, so still that he seemed like a part of the emptiness itself. His thin, fragile body soaked by the rain, his clothes clinging to him as if even they refused to let go, his hands cold, weak, slightly trembling, yet resting without resistance, because when the pain inside becomes too constant, too overwhelming, even the instinct to move begins to fade. His breathing, slow, uneven, heavy, carried more than just the cold air. It carried the weight of nights filled with silence, days filled with absence, and a loneliness so deep that it no longer felt like something around him, but something within him, something that had quietly become a part of who he was. His eyes, swollen, tired, distant, held stories that no one had ever asked to hear. Tears had fallen before yet. The sadness within them remained untouched, as if it had settled somewhere deeper, beyond the reach of anything temporary. And even though he was just a child, there was something in the way he existed in that moment, something in the stillness of his presence that made him seem older, as if life had already taken him through a journey of being unseen, unheard, and slowly forgotten. He lifted his head toward the sky slowly, not with belief, not with certainty, but with the last fragile thread of hope that still remained within him. Because hope does not disappear. It simply becomes quieter, waiting for one final chance to be heard, and in a voice so soft, so fragile, that it almost dissolved into the rhythm of the rain, he whispered, "Jesus, if you are real, if you are somewhere beyond all this silence, if you can hear something as small as me, then please don't leave me alone, because I don't know how to keep going anymore. I don't know how to keep pretending that I'm okay, when inside everything feels empty. I don't understand why it feels like I was forgotten before I even had a chance to be seen. I don't understand why it hurts this much when I try so hard to be strong. I'm tired. I'm so tired of feeling like I don't belong anywhere, like I don't matter, like I'm just there without anyone noticing. I just want to know that I'm not alone. I just want to feel like someone is here with me, even if I can't see them, even if I don't understand it. I just don't want to feel invisible anymore." His words were not loud yet. They carried a truth so raw, so real, that it felt as though his soul itself had reached beyond the silence, searching not just for an answer, but for a presence, something that would not disappear, something that would stay. And for a moment after he spoke, nothing changed. The rain continued its quiet fall. The road remained empty. The silence grew heavier, wrapping around him like a quiet confirmation of every fear he had tried not to believe. And in that silence, there was a kind of pain that could not be described, because it felt like the world had heard him and simply chosen not to answer. But then, slowly, so gently, that it almost felt unreal, something began to change, not in a way that could be seen, but in a way that could only be felt. The cold air softened, the wind stilled, and the emptiness around him began to shift, as if something unseen had stepped into that moment. Something calm, something warm, something that did not belong to the silence, but quietly replaced it, and that presence did not rush it, did not demand to be noticed. It simply existed there beside him, steady, patient, real, and slowly it wrapped around him like invisible arms, holding together the pieces of a heart that had been breaking in silence for far too long. And then, suddenly, yet softly, he felt it, a gentle touch on his shoulder, warm, filled with a care so real that it stopped his breath for a moment. His body froze, caught between fear and a hope he was almost afraid to believe in, and he turned quickly, expecting to finally see someone behind him, someone who had heard him, someone who had come for him. But there was no one there. The road was still empty, the rain still falling, the night still silent, yet the feeling did not disappear. Instead, it grew stronger, settling deep within him in a way that no words could explain. And then, in the quiet space between his heartbeat and his breath, a voice spoke not from outside, but from within him. Calm, gentle, filled with a love so deep that it needed no proof. You are not alone. I am with you. I have always been with you in every moment. You felt unseen in every tear you thought no one noticed, in every night when the darkness felt too heavy. I was there beside you. I never left you, not even for a second, not even when you believed I did. I was there in your silence. I was there in your fear. I was there in every moment. When you thought you had to carry everything on your own, you were never alone. Not then, not now, not ever. Those words did not just reach his ears. They reached the deepest part of him, the place where his pain had been hiding, where his loneliness had quietly taken root. And slowly, something inside him began to change. The tight heaviness in his chest loosened. His breathing softened, as if each breath no longer carried only pain, but something lighter, something calmer, something steady. His eyes filled with tears once again. But these tears were different. They carried warmth. They carried understanding. They carried a feeling he had almost forgotten, comfort. His lips trembled as a fragile smile slowly appeared, breaking through the emptiness that had surrounded him for so long. And in a soft voice, still shaking, yet now filled with something new, something stronger, something real, he whispered. Thank you, Jesus, for being here, for not leaving me, for hearing me, even when I felt like my voice didn't matter, for staying when I thought everyone else had gone, for reminding me that I'm not invisible, that I'm not forgotten, that I'm not alone. And in that moment, something within him shifted completely, because he realized he didn't need to see anything with his eyes. He didn't need proof or signs or answers from the world, because what he felt was real in a way deeper than anything he had ever known. He felt it in every breath, in every heartbeat, in every quiet second, where the pain slowly faded and was replaced by something gentle, something unshakable, something that could not be taken away. And as he remained there, sitting in the rain, with the world still unchanged, the road still empty, the night still dark, everything within him had transformed. Because the emptiness that once consumed him was no longer empty. It was filled with a quiet, unbreakable peace. And even though nothing around him had changed, everything inside him had. Because now he carried something within him that the world could never take away. The certainty that no matter how alone he felt, no matter how silent everything became, no matter how heavy life would get, he would never truly be alone again, because Jesus had been there all along, walking beside him in every unseen moment, standing with him in every silent struggle, listening to every unspoken prayer, holding him together, even when he felt like he was falling apart, and would continue to stay with him through every step he had yet to take, through every dark night, through every quiet tear, through every moment when the world felt distant and cold. And even when the rain would one day stop, and the sky would slowly begin to clear, and the road would fill again with movement and sound, and life would continue forward, as it always does, there would always remain within him that one quiet, unshakable truth, that in his weakest moment, when his voice was barely more than a whisper, when his hope was almost gone, when everything around him felt empty and silent, Jesus had heard him. Jesus had stayed, and Jesus had reminded him that even in the deepest silence, even in the darkest night, even when everything feels lost and broken, he was never alone and never would be. And that truth would not fade. It would not weaken. It would not disappear. It would remain within him like a quiet light, guiding him through every step, every moment, every breath, reminding him again and again that no matter how far he felt, no matter how lost he believed he had become, there would always be a presence beside him. Steady, patient, unchanging, a presence that would never leave, never turn away, never forget him. Because he was seen, he was heard, he was known, and most importantly, he was never alone. Because Jesus was with him, not just in that moment, but in every moment before it, and every moment that would follow, beyond the silence, beyond the darkness, beyond everything he once feared, beyond every doubt, beyond every tear, forever.